So this assignment is to create an inspiration board. An inspiration board is where you gather images that are similar in appearance or have maybe a feel or a texture that you would like to combine into what is eventually going to be your logo. This is also a chance for you to do a little bit of visual research to see what other designers out there have used to communicate similar things that you want to communicate with your logo. So the option I picked to do was the going green, and there was plenty of things to look at out there on the World Wide Web when I did my research. So I found several logos that I liked the simple look of and collected a few images as my inspiration images, and that's what I've placed over here on my board. These images you do not need to credit. These are just to inspire you. You aren't actually going to use these. The other thing you need to do is decide on a color scheme, and you can use any of the color tools that we talked about in weeks 1 and 2 and have links to in our color resources page. I would very much like you to take the time to make this a good looking presentation. So I've done things like organized where my colors are and typed the CMYK values out for them. I also have collected several fonts that I liked the look of, that I felt played well with the going green idea, and I've placed them together so see things are organized. I've also labeled each section, which I'm not going to require you to do, but it's always a good idea. Mostly what I'd like you to keep in mind is if you were creating something for your mother-in-law or somebody else, somebody that's not you, and you need to communicate to them what you are seeing in your head, what you would like to do. And so anything that you can put down on paper to help communicate the actual idea is what is valuable. So here's my visual stuff that I've got my color, my fonts, and my selection of graphics that I like. The other thing that you need to do is sum up what your logo is going for. Now I've written up the exact specs for what you need to do on this on the website, but here I've just listed very briefly what this company is going for, what they want to promote, the characteristics that are appealing for those objects, and then the demographic. Who is this aimed at? And this is going to be your design board. You will be turning in just a JPEG. You don't need to turn in a whole Photoshop file. Now I will tell you this from my students from last time. I would highly suggest starting a folder and keeping it as your inspiration folder for this project. And when you find these things, put them in there, put a copy of your board in there, and especially copy your fonts in there. Because I remember I had one student and they found the coolest fonts to use while they were making their board, but they did kind of like I've done here and just typed the name of Going Green or whatever project it was they did, and then they couldn't find those fonts again. So if you're not going to list the actual name of the font here, then list it somewhere. Give yourself a resource to go back to. The reason I chose not to list a couple of my fonts is I pulled them off of DaFont, and I can't remember which one it was, but it actually had a really obscene name, which typically is not a professional thing to put on there. So anyway, put it together, take a little time to make it look nice, and then you will hand in just the JPEG. Now the next couple weeks we'll be working on a logo, and I would suggest, or even strongly suggest, finding somewhere that you could print this out and just hanging it on the wall by your computer or wherever you work on your assignments, having something that you could look at physically and not just a JPEG on your screen. So you don't have to, but I would suggest it. If it were me, I would do it. Okay, well, good luck. I look forward to seeing what you guys put together next week.